Hi folks, thank you so much for joining me. I'm reflecting tonight on the issue of relationship ruptures. So there are events that happen in relationships, and it can be in a family relationship, it can be a work relationship, it can be a romantic relationship, and I'm never really sure how to describe that these days because romantic seems a bit old-fashioned. But anyway, you know what I mean. So there can be those relationships where there are cracks and fissures, and at some point that gets to breaking point, and then you have a rupture in that relationship. And at that point, there's a sense with both parties being very hurt by what has happened, and also reflecting on the emotions that they feel towards that situation. Now, with a rupture, it's not a pleasant thing to experience at all. But what I hope to be able to convince you of, that it's not always a catastrophic thing, and it's not always a bad thing. Of course, conflict we think about as being intrinsically bad because it makes us feel bad. The emotions that come along with that conflict aren't nice. But actually, some of those emotions that come up, some of those things that we experience, they're the things that are coming up for a reason, and that's because we need to address those, we need to work on those. Why is it that we react in the way that we do? And in some cases we react in the way that we do because there's so much at stake with that relationship. It might be something that we're particularly invested in, that means a lot to us, that's deeply meaningful. So that can show itself in many different ways, and it's not always the obvious ways. So when we have a rupture, we need to think about what that's telling us about ourselves, about the other person, and about that relationship itself. So it might be that we don't have a full understanding of what that other person is experiencing, and that can be for lots of different reasons. It might be that our communication isn't what it should be. That can be a big issue. It might be because the underpinnings of a successful relationship, if you think about it in terms of a partnership, then the underpinnings, from my perspective, would be loyalty, trust and love, and those things encapsulate that relationship. Now, you can have all of those things and still have a rupture in that relationship. But as I've been saying, that rupture can be used in a positive way. Often we don't see that positive side of it until we move forward a bit, and then we look back and we realize at that point that something significant has happened. And it's happened because the relationship is deeply meaningful for us. And it's still painful, though, to think about whatever it is that we need to work through. But it's an opportunity to get things right. And I always think that relationships that have bumps along the road that can be really rocky at times, and there can be those ruptures that occur, if they're dealt with properly, and if they're dealt with sensitively and with good sense of communication between both parties, then that can actually be something that contributes to the healthiness, the long-term longevity of that relationship. So I guess what I do with clients, what I'm doing now, is just encouraging people to think about those seemingly very negative things from a slightly different perspective, and using that in their own personal growth and development, but also thinking about that for other people as well. So that's all I've got to say on that issue. I hope it's been useful, but thanks very much for watching and listening. Take care. Good night.